Thanks for having me here. I'm glad that my first interview is with you finally. Thank you so much. Can you
Oh,
hear?
wow. Thank you for the honor and the time. Yes. Thank you for the honor and your time in doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it. Wow, ako yung number one. So parang bigla naman ako na-pressure ka agad. So, kanina we've just seen your turn in the sportswear category. Wow, ang ganda mo even in your golf outfit.
Thank you so much.
Super. Do you play golf?
Yeah, I do play golf. I actually chose golf because for me, golf is a mental sport. So usually when people do play golf, you kind of know that they have a decent amount of patience.
Uh-huh. All right. How many years have you playing that?
Well, I haven't been playing golf for more than a year. I actually started maybe around 7 or 8 months ago during the pandemic. But I do play a lot of different sports. Like I said, the reason I chose golf was because it was a mental sport, which is really nice to advocate.
And
Not
since
only
you're a
that,
very
actually, it's good for the environment because they have a lot of golf courses and they keep that safe away from anything else. So at least we have a lot of greenery area that can help turn the CO2 into oxygen.
Yes, 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 true. Yeah, wow, talagang pinag-iisipan mo talaga bawat move mo dito sa competition. And you know what? How have you been dealing with this competition so far? I heard ang daming mga requirements na ang inaasa inyo ng Miss Earth organization in coming out with all these stuff for your forthcoming activities.
It's completely different, honestly, because I've only joined barangay pageants. This is my first national pageant. So I thought it was gonna be kind of like the barangay pageant, but since it's live, it's a different ball game. You have to do this and that. It's no longer a battle of just yourself. You also have to make sure that your videos are nice, how you present yourself is nice. So it's a little harder, a little more
Yeah.
expensive as well.
Yeah. Pero 'di ba, wait, before I ask you more questions, you have a very beautiful name. It's my first time, to get to know someone who's named Naelah, 'di ba? So, may meaning ba behind your name? Is it a biblical name?
Well,
It's
thank you
such a
so much
very
for
interesting name.
thank you for so much for complimenting my name. So actually, the story behind my name is I'm the youngest and only girl out of four boys. So my family didn't even know that they were even able to get a girl anymore. I was kind of a surprise child. My mother calls me her miracle child. So what my dad named me Naelah because in his mind he says I want to give this child everything the world has. And my name means I can have whatever I want. It sounds a little bit snooty, but it's kind of sweet when it comes from your parent.
Ah, all right. And then your surname is Alshorbaji. So it doesn't sound Filipino. Are you mixed? Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm half Syrian. And in Syria, we usually have two last names. So my actual full name is Alshorbaji El Mazik.
Whoa. Can you say that again? Male
Alshorbaji El Mazik.
Almazik. So Almazik is your middle name or
My second last name.
oh, all right.
We have that.
Almazik.
So it's a little different. Yeah.
Uh, but how have you been feeling so far? Kasi alam mo, I noticed that you are really standing out in the competition lately. How do you feel about the positive feedback that you have been getting here in Miss Philippines Earth?
Honestly, it's completely overwhelming. I've never had these kinds of feedbacks before. I have a ton of different emotions, but one of them is I feel a bit anxious because it feels like a lot of eyes are on me right now. And I try my best to not to make sure that I do well and hope that the people who are supporting me, I give them what they're supporting, basically. Being the best version of myself for everyone supporting me.
And you know what? Even even I couldn't stop feeling giddy about you right now that you're actually joining your first national pageant, right? So considering, remember I made a post about you like a year ago, or was it 2 years ago, that I was wishing for you to join a national pageant because the photos that you had uploaded that time kind of reminded me of Megan Young. I don't know if it's because of your Syrian blood or your foreign blood, pero you kind of look like her. And from some angles, I also see you a little bit of Kim Jones, the wife of Jericho Rosales. So, between ganun ka kaganda sa libro ko.
Kinikilig ako. Thank you so much, Adam. That's why I'm so glad that my first interview is with you. You know, when I saw your post about a year ago, I was like, oh my God. I was actually worried that the pageant industry wasn't really for me because I'm kind of boyish. And seeing that there are people who want me to be in it is quite inspiring. So I really thank you for that. That was a little push to the right direction for
Oh,
me.
you're welcome. But Megan was also boyish when she joined her national pageant before. So yeah.
Highly no, I didn't even notice,
Yeah.
honestly.
She's into video games. Basta ano, she's one of the boys. Yun ang sinasabi niya sa amin palagi. No, sa mga post interviews niya when she won her title. So, yeah, 'di ba? So, nakikita ko yung similarities eh. Tas now that you're, yeah, 'di ba? So, now that you're joining Miss Philippines Earth, and as we all know, the format is virtual. So, how has your preparations been like compared to when you were preparing for your traditional pageants? Kasi 'di ba, you were also a judge Miss Paranaque 2019, 'di ba? And and you also placed in top 5 of Miss Manila some few years ago.
Yeah, well, the difference with it right now is that it's virtual and that you don't get to meet all the candidates. So that's a downside towards that. But I really like that Miss Earth didn't push through with it. I explained this in an interview before that now since they kind of stay true to their core, they don't have to get swab testing, they can reduce their amount of plastic waste, which is amazing because they're considered Miss Earth. Maybe they didn't think about it, but like when you come to think about it, it does make sense. The other thing is, I mean, it kind of sucks that it isn't live and a lot of people can see it, but it shows that even amidst the pandemic, we're moving towards a direction where we can make it easier for ourselves. You know, I mean, back in the 1990s, we wouldn't be able to do pageants online or even pursue pageants anymore. So it's grateful. We're lucky.
Yeah. So, kamusta naman? How's the how have you been shooting your video packages for the crucial events? Like natapos nyo na ba yun? Like, for your talent competition, for the evening gown, for the resorts wear, for the swimwear categories. Kamusta naman?
Okay naman siya. It's a bit difficult because we have to coordinate ourselves. Diba during regular pageants, you know, if everybody uses one videographer, one photographer, and then they already set up the makeup artist, you don't have to think about those things. It's kind of like becoming the director, the actor, and everything of a movie.
Yes,
It's like you're
all rolled
doing
into one.
everything. Like Naelah Alshorbaji starring and directing in her own pageant. It's kind of like that.
Mhm. But you know what? I feel like you'll excel in this arena, in this format. Kasi virtual eh. So labanan ng ano yan eh. Labanan ng face value yan on screen eh. Feeling ko lang kasi especially you come from the modeling industry. So for sure, you know your angles well. So alam mo na yung mga poses mo, alam mo na yung angles mo. So do you think this will be an advantage for you coming in the competition?
I feel like to a certain degree, but kasi modeling, you know, when you do your modeling poses and walks, it's different from pageantry. Like some of it is quite similar, but what I learned, because I was training with KF and then I was doing my walk and then Tito Rog was making fun of me. Sabi niya, "Ay nako Nana, model ka talaga." Because the walk for models and pageants are completely different. So yes, to a certain degree, but I think there's a lot of girls who do quite amazing and they show their face pretty well as well. So knock on wood, I
So
hope I do well.
so now that you brought it up, so how's the transition like? So nahihirapan ka ba in terms of your walk? Nahihirapan ka ba to adjust it for the pageant world? Kasi di ba pag sa modeling, pag naglakad ka diretso lang, di ba?
Yeah,
Basta
diretso
tama lang yung
tayo.
bagsak ng damit mo, 'di ba? Pero sa pageant, 'di ba, kailangan medyo lagyan mo ng konting personality for you to stand out. So, how has been the transition or adjustment for you so far?
Because in modeling walk, you model for the clothes. You want to show this as much as possible, so your hands are more like behind your back. When you're walking in pageantry, you are the product. You are here because you're trying to show yourself. So it's a lot different, but honestly, when my walk started to develop, teacher Roger's saying it's getting better, I look at the mirror and I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe that I could do something like this. It's exhilarating, the fact that you could like move in a certain way that emphasizes your hips. It's quite lovely. So I don't mind it. I love the journey more than anything really. I love learning.
Oh, glad to know that na you finally adjusted so far for the competition. So, you're not just about modeling. I read your bio. You are also a real estate agent pala. So, I didn't know about it. So, given our situation right now, do you think the worst is over for our real estate industry?
Honestly, I started doing real estate maybe a couple months before I joined Miss Philippines Earth, and then I had to put it onto a halt until I finished the pageant. But before I stopped for a little bit, we weren't selling badly. I feel like even during the pandemic, it's a good investment to buy into real estate because it's one of the essentials, right? We have food, water, and shelter. Real estate is a part of the shelter. So it will always be a necessity no matter what. So I don't think it's ever going to have a hard time unless it's war, for example.
So, having what you said, do you think should one invest in real estate amidst this ongoing pandemic?
If you can, I suggest it's a good idea because currency fluctuates, but if you put your money in real estate, for your lifetime. Sometimes it increases and decreases, but not as much as currency.
So, do you think the real estate industry will be able to recover from how the pandemic affected all of us? Because let's face it, it has spelled the death of the city centers. Di ba, in a certain metropolis, everyone goes to a certain business district area, but since everyone is working at home right now, no one's going to it. So do you think in a way uh, 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 the real estate industry will be able to bounce back from this gloom?
Yeah, I really believe that it does because I was talking to my boss recently, and he was saying that the sales are not super affected by it. Like I said, it's one of the essentials. So I do believe that it will bounce back. It's a matter of time, and I still believe that it's a good investment because it's a necessity.
Great advice. It's always a necessity. Yeah. Real estate. Yeah. Food, shelter, clothing, diba? The basic necessities
Yeah.
of our lives. Yeah. But you know what? I realized that you wear so many hats for a 22-year-old woman. Ang dami mo nang ginawa. Like I've said, you are a print and commercial model, a vlogger. You have your own YouTube channel that espouses mental health awareness. Let's talk about it later. Real estate agent, and now an aspiring beauty queen. So where does this drive all coming from?
Well, honestly, I have a sibling who is a rapper in Lebanon. He's signed by Warner Music. And I went to live with him for a few months and I saw his work habit and I've kind of adopted that because he kind of looks at life as it's kind of like a game. You want to experience things. You have to gain experience to level up in the game. So that's how I want to treat life, enjoy everything. I don't want to wake up one moment when I'm 50 years old and ask myself, what did I do with my life? I want to live in every single moment right now. So I try to experience everything that I can, try to achieve the things that I can while I'm young, and try all the sports that I can because I don't think I'll be able to when I'm older.
What other sports would you like to try in the near future?
All right. So, what is the sports that I want to try in the future? One of them, I mean, I would try this. It's not environmentally friendly, but I just want to give it one try, which is drifting. I would love to learn how to drift a car.
Nox,
I think
Nox.
that would be so cool. So,
Iba yung pag...
that one,
Yeah.
gymnastics, and maybe a bit of every single martial art. So,
Wow.
taekwondo and everything.
Wow. And I also mentioned, and apart from that, you also mentioned that you're a pageant, you're a vlogger. I discovered that you have your own YouTube channel as well, which talks about mental health awareness. So, what made you interested to take up mental health awareness? Does it come from personal experience?
Honestly, this is very personal towards me. When I was a teen, before the age of 18, around like 13 to 15 or 16 years old, I was struggling mentally. I was a very suicidal teenager. I had a hard time. I couldn't understand the world, and I would put that weight onto myself. And then when the pandemic started, I realized that I was imagining myself who I was before mentally, being stuck in a room, not able to see other people and let that expression out. How does one deal with it? And that's why we have an increase in suicide rates. Correct? Right? During the pandemic, there was a
Yes,
big
yes.
increase in suicide rates. So when that happened, I was talking to my psychology teacher from my college, as well as psychologists, psychiatrists from St. Luke's, and other psychiatrists, trying to find out a way of how we could make it better. And that's how I figured out making a channel. So the things that I put in my
Mhm.
channel are all verified from them. Trying to make sure that everything that I release is good for the viewers, and it's not just from my own experience and my reading, because I'm not a licensed professional, but I made sure to find one so that I can give verified information. And since I went there, I just want to make sure that other people don't feel the same way, because it was really scary to feel alone. It's like it's there's a saying where it's like, when you have happiness, you share it with the world, but the moment you have sadness, you carry that weight to yourself. But if you put that weight towards the people you love, you'll see that it's a little bit lighter every single time. So share
Mhm.
your happiness, share your sadness, enjoy mental health, and understand yourself. Like, find peace.
Yeah. So, do you think what have you, being a mental health advocate, what have you realized, or what lesson have you learned so far about this topic at the time we are going through right now?
What lesson that I learned to myself? One important lesson I keep telling myself is, what other people say about you is not something about you, it's more about them. That's including yourself. What you say about other people says more about you than what it says about them. So when you say something bad about somebody, you sit and acknowledge why you feel that way, and then you'll soon understand and discover, oh, I have a deeper feeling about that. Like, I have an insecurity about that, and that's why I hate the other person. So that's one of my main things
So
I
for
learned.
those people who are going through depression right now, especially at this time na parang, everyone feels hopeless, they lost their jobs, they lost all their rackets, income, parang what's the best advice that you could give so that they won't commit suicide?
And this is, I advocate this a lot because I practice this. Meditation is a good way to bring yourself to the present, which is very good for mental health. That's a holistic way to deal with it. It's also good to see a psychiatrist if you're going through some mental health, but really trying to discover your inner self. That's my biggest
Mhm.
advice. And if you feel like you're alone, it's best to talk to somebody just to get it off your chest. I mean, and also find, for me, like when I was suicidal, I attempted maybe 5 times in my life to commit suicide, but I found my purpose, which my love for other people was more than my need to kill myself. So my love for other people is what saved me. So if you can find what you love and just put your life towards that, that could be a way. But that really depends. It's a very difficult topic, and it's a sensitive topic because it depends on the person. So that's why I suggest they see a psychiatrist, even online psychology, or search how you feel, or talk to somebody. It's really essential.
Yeah, talk to someone. Yeah. So let's shift gears now. As ang dami mo kasing, ang dami mong ginagawa. As I read about your bio, wow, you were quoted saying in an interview before, I don't know if this was 4 years ago, that if you were to join your first national pageant, it would have to be Miss Earth. Why is that? What is it about Miss Earth that attracted you to join?
Um, Other than the mental health and everything like that, when I look at myself and I dream about who I want to be, it seems like like Miss Earth resonates to that the most. When I imagine myself, I'm 50 years old. I imagine myself in a farm with my sustainable gardening as well as traditional farming, and I want my entire house to be sustainable, from my feces, my poop to be my fertilizer, like even my cat poop at home, I'm turning it into fertilizer. So I kind of do these things at
Totoo
home.
yon
And
na pwedeng
yeah, so that's why I feel like Miss Earth is the pageant for me, because I resonate with it the most.
Ah, all right. So since you're talking about it now, how were you able to develop that love for our environment or for Mother Earth? How did it all begin for you?
When I was trying to become a good person in and out, I told myself, okay, I don't want to hurt anything or anyone, and I'm trying to progress that. So one of the things I started doing when I was developing myself is also trying to be environmentally friendly and aware. So I started segregating my trash. And then in 1 month, I saw the amount of plastic and all the trash that I had, and I told myself, "Oh my goodness. So this is just from little old me. Imagine this
Yes.
times what? 7 million people, like just that much times God knows how much." I'm like, oh no, we need to figure out what to do, because the thought that every single plastic that I've ever used still exists on the planet right now kind of scares me. And then multiplied by the amount of people. So that's how I developed my love, because I'm like, okay, this earth is my home. And since it's my home, I must take care of it. And Mother Earth is my mother. And as her child, I must take care of her too.
True. So is it so now that you're talking about it, what is it about recycling plastic waste that we haven't learned so far in terms of how to deal with it? Now that you're taking it up as an advocacy for Miss Philippines Earth.
Well, they have the traditional ways of dealing with plastic, like making eco bricks, segregating it. So the project that I was doing with my barangay, and the one that I'm advocating, is buying machines to to turn those plastic into usable materials. So you can make tables, chairs, so it can't be just like its regular form. So we can just be more creative with what we do with it. I mean, there's this problem that we have, let's make it into treasure, and that's the point of it. And if you guys want to do this in your own barangay, just go to preciousplastic.com and you have everything you need, even the blueprints. This is for everybody who wants to learn how to deal with plastic and advocate for it.
Did you create that website?
Oh no, it's a website that I found a really long time ago, and it's about people around the world. It's a global community trying to push this certain project, which is precious plastic. And that's where they get their blueprints, that's where they get their ideas, and then it's just a worldwide community that does this.
So in a way, you're advocating for sustainable living kasi you want us to
Yeah.
recycle all these things that we see in our midst. So as a Miss Philippines Earth candidate right now, what can you contribute to our country in terms of achieving that?
Um, if I become Miss Earth, I would definitely push my advocacy. And what I do want to make sure is every single barangay would have one of these. So that if they have public schools, all the things that they need in the public school would come from these machines, so that we can kill two birds with one stone. In the long run, we need to find a way to deal with this plastic. Everybody's talking about not everybody's talking about stop single waste plastic, but what about the plastic in circulation? What are we going to do about that? And that's what I'm discussing. This is what we need to move forward, because it's a big majority. The environment should come first, because I mean our children wouldn't have a future if not. So we need to be a little bit empathetic towards that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kasi alam mo ngayon na, I'm reading about it. And I saw one data that says that after China and Indonesia, our country ranks as the world's third biggest polluter with 2.7 million metric tons of plastic waste generated each year. And you can actually see it on those thick layer of garbage floating in our waterways. 'Di ba? As if it were some island. So what do you think it can be done to educate Filipinos about this?
I feel like it should be a big, I feel like we should probably have a subject in school that teaches us how to do this, and we should reframe how we teach people about recycling and the environment. We kind of use it in a way where we threaten people, you know, this is the environment, take care of it, you know, like we're getting mad at them and threatening them and fearing them. But we should teach them more about love and like caring for the environment, and how we could like, you know, because you know when you look at commercials with Nido, it makes you feel a certain way. It makes you feel passionate and love, and oh, I love this. And that's what we need to do for the environment. We need to have videos and promotions that bring that.
True. So massive advertising, no? Dapat it should really cultivate, talagang that will really affect our lives, na talagang it will really change our mindset and lifestyle in order for us to do that. Yung talagang change sa mindset talaga So,
Yeah,
yeah, no?
because honestly,
This,
like think about it. When you go to a beach, because there's a lot of people who complain that the reason why the planet is a certain way is because of the government. The government's not doing this. The government's not doing this. Yes, I understand. It's really difficult. But when you go to a beach, you see trash on the beach. You see trash on the street. I don't believe that the government was doing that. I believe individuals just were not educated enough to, you know, put it in a proper place.
yeah. And you know what? It doesn't help that we are facing a pandemic right now with more usage of single face masks and plastics to curb infections. So, how do you think naman we should properly dispose this hospital waste?
Um, well, for the single-use mask, I suggest you switch to a washable mask. And for the hospital materials, if they're hard plastic, they could use the machines that have been advocating in precious plastic, which turns them into usable items. So at least it doesn't just lay there and it's there for 100 years, basically, how many generations. So we can turn those plastic into better materials. So that's a possible solution for me. I mean, that's what I'm
You know,
advocating.
yeah. Alam mo, na-realize ko rin talaga, no? Don't you think our poverty has something to do with our plastic waste problem? Because let's
Yes.
face it, 'di ba? When we go to groceries, and lahat ng mga products, lahat ng mga necessities natin, whether sabon, shampoo, even the food na kinakain natin, cheapy junk food, or yung mga biscuits, they're all packed in single-use sachets, 'di ba? And the number of people consuming it is really huge. Talagang by the million. So, what do you think? Do you think we should, for multinational companies to that have been manufacturing this, it's a way, alam mo yun, how do you separate the fact that they need to way to increase sales by targeting customers who cannot afford bigger quantities? So how do you encourage multinational companies to be part of the solution than to be part of the problem?
Love that. All right, how do we be part of the solution? Well, for me, I have a snacking habit. I'm not gonna lie. You know, that was my main problem before with my plastic waste. Is I used to snack a little bit too much. But my solution is that I went to a zero waste store and I found out that there are zero waste stores where you can buy snacks from. I
Really?
brought
Here
my
in
yeah.
Manila?
there's one in Makati nga eh. It's called Luminary. So
Well, I better check it up.
I'll buy my gummy bears. I buy like nips the
Nips.
chocolate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I buy
Yeah.
nips from there. And nuts and different things. So there is a way if you're looking for it. But if you can't reduce your plastic, at least make sure that it's going to the right places because there are companies that will take your plastic. So that's another
Yeah.
thing that you can do. If you can't avoid it, then make sure that you're putting your plastic in a good place and not just on the street or mixed with your food waste.
Yeah. Having discussed that, so what would your message be to all the young women out there who would like to make a difference, from an not just from an environmental point of view, but to other sectors as well in terms of making social economic impact?
Well, my advice to everybody, and this is what I always tell myself, is to be the change that you want to see in the world. So don't be afraid, you know. If you have fear, that's okay because strong people usually have fear. It's about overcoming the fear because there's no strong person that doesn't have fear. So it's okay. You're going to be fine and do this more than just for yourself. If you want to be a leader, it's not because you want to be a leader, it's because you want to listen to people. So just put your heart there and move forward. You know, because I also get afraid about doing all the things that I'm doing, but I just remind myself that I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for other people and for this planet. So, yeah.
Iba talaga yung Miss Earth, no? Iba talaga yung pageant natin. I mean, kasi dapat we're supposed to be talking about beauty standards, uh, your height, your pasarela, but we're talking about how to solve our environmental crisis, diba? Through our own little way. So, do you think somehow, pageants like Miss Earth is still very relevant at this time?
Oh, of course. Because, I mean, beauty pageants isn't literally just for beauty and poise and body and figure, because there are models for that as well. Beauty pageant is for people who have beauty in a heart, with beauty with a change, beauty with a purpose, and beauty with a cause, you know? So, yes, I will always think this is relevant because that's where beautiful leaders are found. They go there to make a change. And I don't think there will ever be a moment when we don't need that.
True. So, napaka-profound na pinag-uusapan natin. We're talking about changing the habits of our countrymen. So, what message would you like to see in us, in a lot of us Filipinos, perhaps about our habits as individuals? Are we being green enough, or do we have to tweak a little bit of our lifestyle? What message would you like to give myself and the other Filipinos out there about our environment?
Well, for our environment, I really think that everybody should think about the future in the long run. Not a lot of the people think about what's going to happen. You know, you have your own plan. You have, okay, in the future I'm going to be this, this, and this. Think about how that future would not exist if you are not sustainable. Think about your children and then your children wanting to have kids. That wouldn't exist. That future would cease to be if you don't do something about it now. It's not the government, it's us as a collective. We need to work together to make sure we have something for our kids and our grandchildren. So let's be
All
green.
right. True, true, diba? Wait, there are a lot of questions coming in. Ping Ventura has a lot of questions for you. Let's go one by one with those questions. She says, um, he asked, Nella, what color represents your life as an Earth advocate?
Oh, well, for Miss Earth, I'm actually advocating color green. Well, because everything in my life is quite green, from the plants to everything around me. So, yeah, I believe that green is what represents my life. I mean, it's not about money or just kidding.
Pwede rin. Yeah. The money will come in or will follow.
I mean,
diba?
I don't
Para
mind
more
that.
donations to clean up kunwari the Pasig River, diba? He's also saying, ang ganda mo talaga. And then,
Thank you po.
and yeah, tapos Antoinette Gakayan is saying, ang pretty mo. Kyle is also saying likewise, ang ganda niya. And now, yeah, so Ping has a question here again. If you will win Miss Philippines Earth, and if you will be given a chance to choose a format, virtual or actual pageant, which would you choose and why?
If it's gonna still be the pandemic, I would, and not everybody's vaccinated already. If we're gonna have to do a lot of swab testing, I would advocate for it to be virtual, just because you could save a lot of plastic that way. But if there was no pandemic, it would be best for it to be live. But as much as possible to save the environment, it's best for it to be virtual for now, so that not everybody has to use carbon emission to fly into the country, and they have to use their cars in and out of events. So yes, I choose virtual pageants for now. But after the pandemic, let's do regular pageants. We miss this.
So do you think in a way this pandemic, for lack of better term, is a blessing of this guys for Miss Earth? Kasi nakakatipid tayo, less carbon footprint. So what can you
Yeah,
say
to a
about it?
certain degree. I mean, I feel like this pandemic has taught everybody a lot of things. We stopped for a minute, and we really like, a lot of people have been getting into mental health as well and understanding the environment, because the fast-paced lifestyle has stopped just for a few, maybe 2 years now.
Yeah. All right. Antoinette also has another question. He asks, if your eyes are your windows to your soul, what would you see if we look into your eyes? Grabe naman, ang ganda naman ng tanong na to.
What would you see if you looked into my eyes? I
Hope.
think you'll see a lot of love. I mean, a love for everything, a love for everyone, a love for people. And that's why I joined pageants, because, I'm a little girl who came from a place where wars started. And I have a lot of empathy towards people. So you'll see that in my eyes, that I just care. And even if I don't fit the mold of a pageant queen, I just came on that stage because I believe it's a stage for change. And I'm here for change.
Girl, ang ganda ng sagot mo. Kung yun ang final question, and I were a judge, oh my God! I will score you very high. Ang ganda. You were able to make it personable. You incorporated your background, your Syrian
Thank you.
immigrant, tapos inano mo siya, nilid mo siya sa passion mo. Tapos the way you speak is very personable, malambing. May ability ka to charm us with your personality, with your words. I don't know. So
I never
nurture
meant
that.
to, but thank you.
Yeah. And to Antoinette, ang ganda ng question mo. I love it. Pang Q&A, pang final Q&A.
Yeah, I
What?
like it too.
So, Trisha also has a question for you. Hello po, Naelah.
But
I'm wondering, what is your biggest realization when the world stopped? So I assume it has something to do with the pandemic.
pandemic. Well, my biggest realization is that, when you work in a fast-paced lifestyle, you think that everything has to work a certain way. But this pandemic showed that we can break the normal and create a new normal. You know, this is our new normal. We're all virtual. We're doing this and that, so we can break this new normal and change it and work for it to become more environmentally friendly. It's possible. If the pandemic was possible and we're dealing with it, then we have to deal with climate change next and see how we can deal with that.
Are you ever hopeful that we'll be able to fix our climate change problem
Um,
in the world?
I feel like we don't have an option. It's
Why do you
it's
say
either
so?
it's either we fix climate change or we don't exist. You can't have an option of I want to fix the climate change, or if it's a suggestion. It's more of something that is essential for us to live, to be alive, to have a future as a species, and to have the earth like keep moving.
Yeah, because the reason I asked this question is because let's face it, look, the shirts that we are wearing right now, ito, mass-produced to ng mga favorite companies natin like Zara or our favorite multinational company stores. Pero alam mo yun, pag inisip mo how these shirts were produced, of course, apart from the labor, alam mo yun, kailangan dumaan sa mga sangkatutak ng mga factories for quality control. And it really contributes, and those factories contribute to a lot of what is happening in our climate change, in our
Yeah.
climate problem right now. So, do you think in a way, like at the end of the day, economy pa rin talaga is still the parang pinaka-blame that we have to, parang pinaka-end game, pinaka-blame game natin? Because if we're not going to do all these things, itong mga pagmamanufacture, then there's no economy that will be keeping afloat. So lahat tayo patay, we won't be able to do something for our lives. But there's an environment problem that we have to think
Face.
about, diba?
Yeah, I mean, we can't solve that problem in one sitting of a conversation with me and you right now. It's gonna take years for us to figure out how we're gonna deal with this situation. But I really think that in each product they should write down like what it's doing to the environment, so it becomes the person buying it to make a choice. Like for example, like okay, I'll buy your Zara top or any top, and it says that okay, this is how much carbon footprint is yada yada yada, and then you look at it and you're like, maybe I don't want to cause this much carbon footprint. Maybe I'll buy another product. I think that's a good way of looking at it. Maybe that's possible. I don't know, but so far. We could, as much as possible, just try to support the brands that you feel is good for the environment, and try to move forward that way. It's really difficult.
Yeah, yeah. Antoinette is even commenting. I think you know her. Kasi natatawa siya. It depends, boss, daw. Bardagulan, kung bardagulan daw talaga. Pag formal, maayos ang tanong. Pag hindi daw, hindi maayos ang tanong. But thank you for that lovely question. I really appreciate it talaga. So, Pink Ventura has another question. He asked, and the questions keep coming in. What is the most rewarding part of being a Miss Philippines Earth candidate? What is the most rewarding part of being a Miss Philippines Earth candidate?
The fact that I can represent my city. My God, I'm wearing the sash not for myself. I'm not here as Naelah Alshorbaji. I'm here because I have a role to fulfill, which is the beauty queen of my city. I have the people behind me. That's the best part. You meet the mayor, you talk to these people, you try to do as much as you can. So it's exhilarating. It's amazing. The fact that you can do that.
Suportado ka ng buong LGU ng Paranaque. Kasi I saw your photo with the mayor recently when you came to them for a courtesy visit, right?
Yeah, they're very supportive. The mayor, the councilors. I've met almost all the councilors already, as well as the SK chairmans. They've all been very supportive. So I really love that about them. They're helping me out as much as possible.
Yeah. Wow, ang dami nilang tanong. Biglang, would you mind answering more questions? What is one thing from Kyle Isabella? What is one thing that we would not know about you just by looking at you?
What is one thing? I like playing video games.
See? Very Megan yan ka. Megan also likes to play video games. Sabi ko sa iyo
if I'm not doing something, if I have free time, I would spend it playing League of Legends or Valorant. I'll just be there. Like I have a gaming rig at home.
Oh, ayan na guys, a gamer si Nælah. So kung sinong gusto makipaglaro sa kanya, panoorin nyo para makalaban nyo rin siya, who knows, di ba? And let's see another different side of her this time around. So Lorraine Aguila has a question as well. Hi, Ate Naelah.
Hi! Hi, Lorraine!
During this pandemic, as a woman, how will you make a difference to the lives of the young generation?
And as a woman, how will you make a difference to the lives of... Well, as much as possible, I try to make impact by leading by example. That really depends on it depends on the woman, but as far as possible, I try to make an impact, try to do what I love, and I hope it inspires other people. So from everything I do, from mental health to environment, I just hope that they get a key essence of that and apply it to themselves. So yeah.
All right. So, okay, a few more questions. Okay, from Pink Ventura again. Do you feel the industry needs to change its approach of teaching about the environment, and what ways can this be done in the future?
Excuse me.
Sorry, do you feel? Oh, let me flash this for you.
Okay.
Do you feel the industry needs to change its approach of teaching about the environment, and what ways can this be done in the future? Can anyone share some research on how environmental education can change, or recent research on how effective environmental education is? Do you think it should be part of the curriculum na?
I
Starting as
honestly,
grade
yeah.
1?
Yeah, I definitely think it should be a part of the curriculum in the any country. But even if people put it in the curriculum, if kids don't want to educate themselves, it's not going to work. So as an individual, it's your social responsibility to educate yourself as well. It doesn't have to be just school. You could watch documentary. I mean, the internet is so ready available here. We have thousands and millions of videos on YouTube. We got Netflix videos, so you can always tune in and become more aware about it. So yes, I do believe it should be in school, but also individuals should take it into their own wing and become a greener future.
So lead by example talaga dapat at the end of the day.
Yeah, because I mean, in the school they teach you a certain amount of things, but when you get older, you don't really apply that to yourself. So the school could do so much, but it's the individuals, it's their mind that needs to really change their mindset about the environment and see what they can do about it.
All right. All right. So, there's so many questions coming in. So, Trisha is asking what do you do to de-stress naman?
Um, what I do to de-stress is play sports, which could be kiteboarding, golf, or any other sport, video games, and meditation. Watching educational shows as well. So just leisure time, taking a break.
All right. So, there you go, guys. 'Di ba? Ang galing talaga sumagot ni Nela sa mga questions ninyo. So, as my last question, no doubt, talagang dapat ka naming abangan for Miss Philippines Earth because you seem to be a very well-rounded person. Ito na lang yung last question ko. Why should you be the next Miss Philippines Earth?
Well, I believe that I should be the next Miss Philippines Earth because I put my heart on a platter. And what that platter consists of is my love for the environment, my dream of having my own farm. So I came here because this platform is for change and I want to be the change that I see in the world. So I'm here for more than just myself. And that's why I believe I should win Miss Philippines Earth.
Again, can you give a message to all your followers and supporters who have been rooting for you, cheering for you to become the next Miss Philippines Earth title holder?
I just wanted to thank everybody who's been supporting me so far. I'm trying my very best. I've been working really hard, and I hope you guys can stay tuned, vote for me, and hopefully I don't let you down. So thank you so much. Continue to becoming more sustainable and educating yourself. And I wanted to just send love and everything. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you, Adam, for having me. I can't believe I'm having my first interview with you, man.
Oh, making new memories with you. Yeah. I feel like, I should attach the word sustainable to you kasi parang favorite word mo yon talaga, sustainable. So, I'm sure I won't be surprised if that word comes out
Again.
during
Sorry.
your answers sa Q. No, no, no. I really love it. Talaga you really seem to advocate about it even during the press presentation na talaga, oh, she talks about sustainability. So in a way, parang you're making a good recall among all of us pageant fans. Yeah. So keep it
Thank
up.
you.
So, yeah. So thank you so much. No words talaga. Ang ganda-ganda mo talaga in person. And I hope, whatever trajectory God has in store for you in the next few weeks, I hope it's something very good, diba? Sobrang everyone's wishing you to become the next Miss Philippines Earth. So, all right, Naelah, here we go.
So much.
Thank you so much. Virtual hugs and kisses all the way from my office here in Cubao.
Well, I'm
Thank you
giving
so
you
much
hugs
for
and
the
kisses from
opportunity.
Paranaque.
So stay safe and hydrated.
You too.
Bye.